practice?
Good, yeah, good energy. Got a lot of good work in. A lot of fun to be out there, flying around, seeing what the guys can do. Thought, with Dev, it's a nice, easier start. It's like having a returning, starter for you at the quarterback spot, even though it's with a new team. The old line is in a good spot to be building from. And then it was just it's wide open with the skill guys to see who's going to emerge and what kind of production comes from that group. Consistency, who's showing up every day, making plays, doing the right stuff. So,
will you be flexible with what formations you use, how much you use the tight end and all that, just based on who looks like they can produce?
Yeah. So right now we're kind of in a, how do I say, generic-ish offensive plays and scheme and things we're doing that we like to do, but looking to identify, who's emerging, what's those personnel groupings, what kind of skill sets, and then start adjusting and adapting from there. Sometimes that happens in spring. Those things, you start to make some of those tweaks as you go, but a lot of that will carry over in the summer and into fall camp too.
How many roster spots and scholarships have you tried to protect so that you can go into the portal and help yourself at the end of spring when players may have gone through a spring ball and decide that they want to move on and try something different?
Yeah, there are a couple spots on offense that we will look to bring in some guys to add to the group. Not a lot, but there will be a couple guys specifically in those skill groups that we'll want to bring in to add to the mix.
Walk me through just the state of the wide receiver room right now. What is your confidence in that group? And if you have to hit the spring portal, what kind of talent are you looking for?
If we do something at spring, we'll look to bring in a guy we can push the ball to down the field. It reminds me a lot of when we went to Syracuse. When I got there was not that returning guy who's done a lot of stuff for the offense. It was really wide open. And that's kind of how it is. There's some guys that have had some minor game experience. Most of the experience has come from guys transferring in. So anyways, it's just that thing's wide open just to let guys play, see who, like I mentioned, day in, day out, who's being consistent, making plays, doing the right things, trustworthy. And that's what I call it, the circle of trust. Everybody starts on the peripheral, and it's all about by what you're doing every day, you're making the way right in the center of that thing where we can count on you to do your job, do your assignment. And so, that's a wide open thing, and no doubt people are going to emerge to fill those spots.
There's a lot of talk about Devin, but you also brought over Rogers and Davis from last year's squad. What do those guys bring to the table?
Their familiarity, their chemistry with Dev, but also the offense. And so, the first day, RD, had a couple targets and completions and did some really nice routine things that he's done several times before. Same with Nakari. It's been nice because you can throw them in there. They can take the first rep, and it gives a real positive image for everybody to watch and go, okay, that's kind of what it's supposed to look like because they've been in that spot. So, they're in a way almost, the little bit seasoned player that's pretty familiar with it.
As you've started to evaluate the roster and team that you have, how much does that offensive line stand out to you, and how vital will they be moving forward?
It's in a really healthy, good spot. Good quality players, players who have a lot of game experience, and by that you just see the leadership from that group. So their presence, their effect on the offense is they bring a lot of leadership and stability. Now, there's a lot of work going on and competition going on, obviously, for them to learn and execute everything, but also who are those next guys up? Who's the 6 through 9, 6 through 10? How close are they in getting to be game ready and available? So a lot of work's going in that way with those other spots.
What have you seen early in the process from Wayshawn Parker?
Wayshawn, this was one day, but he's really easy to work with. So a few things happened where maybe a different player didn't do what they were supposed to do, and so he just worked right off that guy in doing his job. So somebody took his blocking responsibility, and he just adjusted and picked up the next, threat, which seems easy enough, but is really not, to be that flexible and easy to work with. Usually you're just living in your narrow assignment, and somebody messes that up and it kind of throws you off. So I was impressed with just how easy he was to work with that way.
Kyle talked about the NCAA rule changes allowing you guys to do walkthroughs and how that's benefited the new offense. Could you kind of take me through what you were able to do with those walkthroughs and how that's benefited you guys so far?
Yeah, they kind of tweaked that rule where you can use some of your 8 hours to do some walkthroughs. So just to get the guys out there and to get lined up with those assignments, and then to be able to kind of run through what their job is, kind of on air in those settings was real positive. Head start, because you watch the film and you kind of meet and cover it, but to just get out there and line up and kind of act like you're going through it is a real. When they started to allow that a few years ago, it was really nice, especially in this world where a lot of your roster changes with the portal, and you need to get guys, more ready to play than you had time in the past.
Kyle mentioned yesterday that he's seen a lot of improvement from Isaac Wilson. Walk me through the process of getting him to come back from the portal and what you've seen from him early on in terms of improvement.
With Isaac, we met a couple times as I got here, and just to show him different versions of the offense than simply the one we did with Dev this last year. And some of the quarterbacks I've had in the past who he's maybe more similar to, and this was the kind of offense we ran with those guys, and what a good fit it would be, and how we would utilize his strengths and his talents and his abilities. I've been impressed with him, and again, it's one practice and, some meetings and walkthroughs, but I've been impressed with him with how quickly he's picked it up, just in terms of knowing what to do and how quickly he can make those decisions, because we got a lot more in than you would typically have, because Devin can do it. If Devin wasn't here, there'd be a much smaller thing. So Isaac's taken all of that in, and has really handled it nicely. So he's done a really nice job.
We're going to talk for about one or two more, guys.
Outside of Isaac, how have the other 2 quarterback transfers fared so far?
With talking Brendan and Nate.
Yes.
So good. There's only so many reps to go around. So it was a little heavy with Dev and Isaac. Able to get a few reps, to other guys and to make the most of them, and then we'll kind of see where it goes. And we're also working with Nate doing other non-quarterback stuff. So working to develop him as just to what he can add to the offense, to be on the field at the same time and what he can do. So kind of a lot of different things going on with Nate that he made some nice plays, and obviously with that kind of transition, it has a lot of room to learn and grow and make the most of that opportunity.
What's it been like joining Kyle Whittingham's staff, a guy who's been here so long? This building was built on his blood, sweat, and tears, the stadium renovations, and joining a guy who's embedded in a program like this.
Yeah, it's part of the attraction that come here is because of what he's done here. The culture, the success that they have, was a big part of when this opportunity came up. You've seen that and admired that and respected that from afar, and so the chance to come in and join into that and be a part of it was awesome, because they've had, he's had success here for a long time, and he's done a lot of really impressive things. So yeah, it's a great staff to be a part of, a great culture and program to be a part of.